On today's episode of Locked On Avalanche, Team Canada, of course, wins, but a day after, people are not happy with Nathan MacKinnon for some reason. We'll talk about it. New episode of Locked On Avalanche coming at you.
You're Locked On Avalanche, your daily podcast on the Colorado Avalanche, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, everybody, welcome to the Locked On Avalanche podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I am your host, Chris Maselli. With me, as always, Mr. Shaggy Von Doom, Kyle Sullivan. Thank you for tuning in and making this your first listen of the day. Always appreciate it. If you want to get in on the conversation, join our subtext. Link is in the show notes below. Chat with Kyle and I one-on-one. We get your opinion, everything Avalanche related, which we share on this podcast. We'll do that a little bit later. We'll continue some midseason grades. We're doing them 3 at a time, alphabetically. Today we got Jonathan Drouin, Sammy G, and Ivan is getting a grade for the midseason. So we'll do that. Kyle's got the rock eyebrow lifted on that one. So we'll get to that a little bit later. Our plan here was to record after the second intermission of the USA-Finland game. And going into that second intermission, it was 2-1. And then we hit record. And before you know it, it's now 5-1 in favor of the United States. Because we were thinking, like, as that game was going on, it was a close game. And we were thinking, like, as we're recording this, just keep an eye on it and kind of give updates. That's over. It is. We didn't see those 3 goals. They happened in quick succession. But up until then, I thought it was that was a really different game than the Canada-Sweden game, in that it was kind of like how Finland is, how they're going to play. They're defense first. If we get opportunities, we'll try to seize them. They got an early kind of, it's one you just don't give up if you're Connor Hellebuyck, but he did. And he seems to be settling in, and this is going the way of Team USA.
Yeah, it's fascinating. It's a complete, I don't know. The more this tournament goes on, the more I'm starting to sway my opinion on it. Like this is fun. This is a lot more fun than I anticipated it being, for it being an exhibition. But for that first goal for Finland to give them life on Connor Hellebuyck, for goodness sake, like, you're like, oh, this is going to be a game. And it was, up until the explosion in the third, as we're getting ready to do the episode. Like, yeah. It's 5-1 Freebirds, but my goodness, this is fun. Like, this is like, you feel like that extra sense of pride wherever you're from. Like, you're like, yeah, that's my country. And yeah, like, you like resemble like their play style. You're like, yeah, that's how we do it.
Sure. And how we were saying in the Canada-Sweden game, of what would the hits be like? And I think these guys watched that game, be like, okay, let's do it. We don't have to have that. Are we going to do this period of like, hey, what are the hits going to be like? They watched that. Canada and Sweden had no problem hitting each other. And right off the bat, these two teams were going at it. You saw some scrums after goalie would freeze a puck of, pushing back and forth. That's going to happen when Kachucks are on the ice anyway. But and the really dangerous boarding penalty called against Sweden. So these guys are going for it. They are going for it. So we'll obviously just, there's less than 10 minutes left as we're recording this. It's still 5-1. So, but we want to go back to the Canada-Sweden game. I'm almost doing like a morning leftovers, Kyle. I just kind of realized
Let's do a morning leftovers on Locked On 4 Nations.
Right at. Because the big talking point that I don't know, we've been seeing, and maybe this is just because we're in Avalanche circles, but it seems like it's reached beyond that. And even though Team Canada won, there's a lot of people outside of Avalanche circles that are not too pleased with Nathan MacKinnon. And the reason for that is because they felt like he was puck hogging in the overtime period. And when he was on a line with Cale Makar and Connor McDavid, he had opportunities. Well, I shouldn't say he had opportunities, because I don't think he did have opportunities, Kyle. Mm-hmm. And when I say he had opportunities, in that it's 3-on-3, there's a lot of passing that usually happens in overtime sessions. And Nathan MacKinnon had opportunities to shoot the puck, and he did that. And you're hearing a lot from mainly Edmonton fans, and I understand it. Hey, our guy is out there too. feed him the puck as well, which I am not against. But if you go look at the plays, tell me where you want Nathan MacKinnon to pass Connor McDavid the puck. There were really not any scenarios where that could have happened. But I want to get your thoughts on this, because it's kind of funny like that this stuff happens. But go ahead.
Oh, it's like a perfect storm brewing for it's just how I view this whole situation. It's like like the Nathan MacKinnon thing. Oh, you're mad at him for trying to take over a game? Please tell me what that's been like. Haven't that in a while. So this is also one of those things you mentioned, like the burgundy and blue glasses. Like it's something you kind of get accustomed to. Hey, Team Canada fans, he's on your side.
Yeah, right.
When Rasmus Dahlin is putting Connor McDavid on his butt, and Connor McDavid has this constant expression of "I can't wait to get to the locker room and listen to Fall Out Boy and forget about my emotions." Like who else do you want out there? Like McDavid, I understand he's all this and a bag of chips, la-di-da-di-da, but Nathan MacKinnon is also at that level, if not surpassed, when it comes to hardware. Like I get the mystique around McDavid, and honestly, for Canada, that's the guy you want scoring because he's on a Canadian team. You feel like this is your guy, this is who you want. And for Nathan MacKinnon to constantly one-up Connor McDavid, for some reason, it's like a slap in the face. And by the way, I hate to ruin it for everybody here. Edmonton fans are never happy. How do I know? Because I read YouTube comments. But no, they're just never happy. Like if you give Connor McDavid the puck too much and it doesn't work, well, this isn't the team he's used to. He's having to share. Like it's never enough. And Connor McDavid is never catered to enough. But guess what? I hate to break it to you, Team Canada. You won the game.
Right. Yeah. But and that's the part that kind of like I get like there's going to be moments where like you should have done that better in any sport, in any victory or anything like that. But I feel like it's like is that the only way that they would have been happy is if this game ended with a Connor McDavid goal than anybody else. But find me a screenshot of where Connor McDavid put himself in a position to be given the puck to score a goal. It didn't happen, people. Like there was two kind of like charges that Nathan MacKinnon had. He was the one who does what he does. He gets the puck and he just goes full bore. We're accustomed to seeing that. And there was the one moment where it started as a 3-on-1 for Canada. And Cale Makar kind of hung back a little bit. Connor McDavid swings way out, like he gets into the zone, and then he kind of just stops. He doesn't keep going towards the net. And I forget who was on defense for Sweden, but they played it pretty as well as you can do to cut off the lanes. And then when Cale Makar kind of hung back by the blue line, another player for Sweden kind of got in front of him. You could see Nathan MacKinnon wanting to pass that puck. He was in the mindset of like, my best option here is to make that cross ice pass. It was taken away. So at the last second, he fires on net. And if people are putting up a screenshot of that exact play, McDavid's in the better position to shoot the puck is Nathan MacKinnon. He's closer to the net. McDavid is kind of further out than he really should have been. I'm not saying he played that play poorly. I'm just saying when it's all coming to Nathan MacKinnon and he's processing it all. Okay, I got to fire on net. I'm closer to the net. My passing lanes are taken away. And I just, the anger surrounding this is just so simple-minded in that all you're thinking about is he didn't pass to Connor McDavid. End of story, period, full stop. Not taking into account the actual plays. Watch the actual plays and tell me where you wanted Connor McDavid to receive a puck to score a goal.
All right, I'm just gonna say it as it is because Connor McDavid is not my Lord and Savior. That's Dale Earnhardt.
6-1 USA, by the way. Go ahead.
Let's go Freebirds. I don't care about making Connor McDavid happy. It's not my job and it's not my fandom. We're talking about how great this tournament is as a whole because of the effort that is being put out. Your goals, by the way, for Team Canada, Your first one was on the power play, assisted by McDavid to Sidney Crosby, Nathan MacKinnon. That's the last time you see McDavid on the, like, that was his point of the night. Congratulations. Then you got out hustled by Brad Marchand, who got goal 2. And then, hey, Canada, Mitch Marner, somebody you're going to have to pay some money to if you want him to stay up there in Canada. He got goal 3.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is what you want. Like, these guys are taking it.
McDavid show.
Yeah,
it doesn't need to be.
But they're taking it seriously. McDavid is
yeah.
still in all-star game mode. And again, this line of fandom of McDavid's not getting this, McDavid's not getting this, the conditions aren't ideal. This is how we explain Georgie in the net. When all these goals weren't going your way and, well, that's a bad save, or he could have had that one. You can't constantly cater the game to make your goalie look better, and you can't constantly cater the game to make McDavid. He has to eventually start playing the game, and he's not in a position to win. Nathan MacKinnon's going to have to look around to find somebody who is, and McDavid was kind of in ghost mode, and like LeBron in the finals a couple years ago, where he just would take himself out against OKC. Like, it's the same kind of thing. Like, yes, you have the talent, but you still have to play the game. And like, that's been my biggest thing with McDavid. Like, he just gets out there, does his thing. And it's not like the Oilers, it's Connor McDavid and friends.
Yeah, that's a good point. And the other thing I'll say about this is if there's some Edmonton fans like listening to this right now to tune into this episode
my name is Chris Maselli.
All right, to hear our take on this. If there were a play that MacKinnon took a shot and he should have passed, I would say it. And you want to know why? Because like I said, if you're from Edmonton or an Edmonton fan and listening to this, I'm assuming you haven't listened to a lot of Locked On Avalanche shows. We've criticized Nathan MacKinnon many times this year for taking too many passes or throwing too many passes when he should have shot.
Yep.
So we have no problem telling him that he needs to shoot more, or when he does take a shot, he should have passed it there. Like, we have no problem doing that because we've done it. So I didn't have a problem with the decisions that he made to shoot in the overtime session when he did, because that's the best. That was the best possible outcome for him at that time. And if a pass should have been made, I'd have no problem saying like he should have made that pass there, but it doesn't exist in this scenario. It doesn't. And do you really think Nathan MacKinnon wants to prevent like Team Canada from winning this game? And like, I don't think, we said it in yesterday's episode that he was, maybe he did have that mindset of like, I want to get the game winner. Number one, what's so wrong about that? The guy wants to win the game. And number two, I don't think that he's really preventing Connor McDavid from getting like the glory. We said in yesterday's episode as well that, his pregame interview with the TNT crew, dude, was business. It's not business that he's in for himself. It's for the team and for the country. If there was an opening, he would have given it to McDavid all day.
And my last thing I want to say to the Edmonton fans crying about this is the Four Nations. I could applaud you for finding a way to put your blue and orange back on and kind of take over the tournament a little bit. But there are 31 other teams out there that don't have to cater to an ego, and you shouldn't approach a country-based tournament catering to the ego. That's not how locker rooms work. I know it might in Edmonton, where you have to make McDavid happy or things don't exist, but the guy who was trying to win the game, Nathan MacKinnon, he's got a Stanley Cup. Take some notes.
His name's Kyle Sullivan, by the way. So all right, so interesting stuff here with the USA game. Still 6-1, but I want to go over who's scoring these goals. Could be how much time's left? Probably not, but still pretty amazing. All right, let's get a break in here and then get to the people who tuned in to the Canadian-Swedish game. It's a good start for this Four Nations tournament. We'll do that next. We're going to hear from FanDuel because when the game tips off, the NBA action is just getting started, and there's no better place to get in on that action than FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. And with FanDuel, you can place live bets throughout the game. So even if you miss the opening tip-off or want to bet on a fourth quarter comeback, you can stay in on the action. And if you're looking for a bigger payout, you can even combine your live bets into a same game parlay. You know that I'm not that keen on NBA, but I do go back with the New York Knicks, which I've heard they're doing okay this year. Are they not?
They are doing okay.
Okay, but they did play against the Celtics not that long ago, and Celtics blew them away. So is this one of those things where it's like, yeah, the Knicks are having a good season, but nobody's beating the Celtics this year?
That's basically it. Like, congratulations, you have a good Knicks team, but it doesn't matter.
We're just going through the motions of the regular season. Awesome. Cool. Right now, new FanDuel customers can get $150 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. Just visit FanDuel.com and join today. That's FanDuel.com for your shot at $150 in bonus bets, where you make every moment more with FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NBA. So just going through, still 6-1, just about 2.5 minutes left, but the Kachucks are in beast mode in this game, Kyle.
Who would have thought?
Brady Tkachuk with 2 goals, Matthew Tkachuk with 2 goals. I'm seeing if they have any assists on the day. Matthew has an assist, and I don't think Brady has any assists here, but both of them were on the verge of hat tricks. Imagine that. Imagine if both of those brothers get hat tricks in the same game. 2 minutes left. I doubt that's going to happen, but maybe one of them. Well, no goalie's getting pulled a 6-1 game. So, but they were on a mission in this game.
And how poetic is it? You want to talk about storylines for this tournament? The United States finally have their D2, the Mighty Ducks Bash Brothers, in United States jerseys, and they're tearing it up. Like, this is what you want to see. Like, especially for youth in American hockey. Like, everybody points to Austin Matthews as like, I want to be like him because he's from Arizona. But hey, look at the Kachucks. Like, and they come, like, everybody likes Big Walt. Like, it's a good story and something really to look up to. And again, these are going to be moments that you're going to hear the future generation say, when the Kachucks were in that Four Nations tournament, like, that really got, like, I started believing in what I could do. Like, I love this production from them.
I mean, you're like, you mentioned Austin Matthews. I don't see him anywhere on the stat sheet. So it's like,
go figure.
I mean, but you got your boy Hughes. Oh no, he's got an assist. I lied. Sorry. So the Jake Gunsel goal, the second goal in the third period, was assisted by Matthews and Hughes. So he does have an assist.
Yeah, shower praise on the Hughes boys, please.
There you go. Interesting to see, or will be interesting to see what the results are for viewership for this game, really for all of these games. But I was very interested to see how, the first game, because that sets the tone, right? And then you hope it would just increase from there, because if you have a good opening day to a tournament like this, then that's how word spreads. And if nobody's watching it, there's no mouths to spread the word. But it sounds like people tuned in to game 1 between Canada and Sweden. And that was a Wednesday night game, right? So middle of the week. We haven't even got to the weekend yet. So, but for a Wednesday night game in North America, it brought in 4.1 million viewers. And the average viewer was 1 million, which means at any given time, 1 million people were watching it at one given time. 4.1 over the whole duration of the game. That when we did a week ago, we talked about that awful announcing article that was out, and they were talking about, I know it was the Sharks and the Kraken, not the biggest game for people to tune into, but still, what was it, like 140,000 people tuned into that game. This is exactly what the league wanted. And if that's your starting point, what is the weekend going to look like when that's Canada, USA on Saturday night, 8:00 prime time, Saturday night? And what does the final look like?
Yeah.
So you got to be excited for those early numbers for that first game. Definitely.
And like hearing those numbers, and I have a brother who texted me. He's a bleeding heart NBA guy. Like, we'll watch the NHL if he's kind of forced to, but
Okay.
like, he's not the biggest. And he texted me during the US game, said, talk to me about this Four Nations tournament. I've been seeing the commercials. I had to check it out. I wish the NBA would do something like this. He said, this is cool. He's like, are they doing this in place of the All-Star game? I was like, yes. And explained kind of the roadmap to him. He said, this is really cool. I'm enjoying this. And like and we're talking about the NHL growing the game. Coming from him, this is big. And you wonder how many more stories like this are kind of caught in the intrigue. And especially like once these stories get out, like scoring 3 goals as quick as the USA did. Like once this gains more traction, I'm very curious to see what the numbers are doing, because the tournament's been a success so far. It's been entertaining so far, great storylines so far, and it's catching eyeballs that it typically normally shouldn't and wouldn't, especially if this was an all-star game format.
Yeah, I think with this game, the USA Finland game, it was a tight game going into the third. And so maybe people hung around for that. And then they see 3 quick goals. And that's what the kind of like the non-hockey, but I do want to watch hockey fan is looking for. They're looking for goals. Like you and I can watch a 1-0 game, and if there's great saves, good defense, like there's a lot of value in that for someone like you and I, or the hardcore hockey fan. The fair weather hockey fan doesn't want to see a 1-0 game. So when you get 3 goals in 3 minutes to start a third period of a game that was really close, that's another talking point that people can, because I'm sure that arena, I'll go back and watch it, I'm sure the arena was going crazy.
Yeah.
So that just sucks people in. You always get this with the Olympics.
Yeah.
Hockey is the sport at the Winter Olympics, and you always get a bump of viewership with an interest in the NHL and hockey after the Olympics. I'm not saying this is on par with that, but if people like your brother who have no real interest in hockey, kind of turn the TV to it, and because it is different than the in-season tournament to me for the NBA. And I talked about this the other day. Like I didn't tune into the in-season because to me, it's just regular season games that you're just packaging as a tournament. It does it like you still play the same amount of games. And I know you still do in the NHL, but like for this, like it is a break from the regular season, and it's only specific players in your league that are playing in this tournament. Not just a in-season tournament that are count towards your record. And to me, it doesn't feel like a tournament. You change the look of the court. Big deal. This is different, and I think I wonder how many people are like your brother, who are let me see what this is all about. And you're seeing some really good hockey early on.
And who would have thought? And I told him this. Who would have thought that fans from other sports would be coming to the NHL and looking for ideas they wish would implement in their sport?
I know.
This is very rare.
I mean, and you could do this in the NBA.
You
NBA
could.
Is global. I mean,
told them they should take their All-Star game outside, like make it like an outdoor thing.
Yes.
And like instead of representing conferences like North, South, East Coast, West Coast, international, like rep your squad, go outside. NBA's fixed.
I've thought for a long time when the NHL went outside, I thought like NBA will probably do that too at some point. I mean, how many people play this sport outside?
That's what you
NBA.
do.
Exactly. So we'll see. We'll get the numbers for that. But I am really looking to the weekend and the Canada USA game. How many people tune into that? And I hope it's a good game. And it just goes down to the wire, because that can get people addicted to it. It really can. So we'll see. All right. One more thing to do here, and that is hand out a few more mid-season grades. We'll do that next. It's not really the mid-season, but it's when they're taking a break, so we're calling it the mid-season.
No, we're putting on this group of 3, we're putting an emphasis on the mid part.
Oh, okay. I think I know where Kyle's going with this one. So the 3 that we have: Jonathan Drouin, Sammy G, and Ivan. And when I was, like I said, we go through alphabetically. And so I was looking up the next 3, and he came up, I was like, oh, I don't know. And then you see that he played 40 games.
Yeah,
like,
you heard it here first.
I mean, if Calvin DeHaan gets a grade, Ivan gets one too. What are you going to say?
I said, you heard it here first. Yes, Ivan played 40 games.
Crazy. So let's start with we'll go in alphabetical order then, and start with Jonathan Drouin. So his stats on the year, a little bit truncated because of the injury, but when he's playing, he's doing okay. 24 games played, 6 goals, 16 assists for 22 points, just shy of a point per game. He's a +3. He's out on the ice all the time. 1931 average time on ice, 2 game-winning goals so far. 17.6 shooting percentage. Good Lord. What do you think? I mean, it's tough. I know that maybe it's a little bit tougher because he only hasn't played a ton of games, but when he has been in there, he's been effective.
And that's the thing. This is probably, with all these grades that we're going to do, this is probably going to be the hardest, because when he's there, he's essential. When he's not, it's felt. And then you're like, just fill in that spot and just move on. I'm landing on a B- for Drouin, and it's nothing to him. It's just, hey, you would be an A+ player if you could just stay on the ice.
Yeah, I think that's the one category where it's like, how much do you want to ding him for the games played?
Yeah.
And that's maybe out of his hands, but I'm with you on that. Like I was hovering like B, flat B, B-, and I think I'm gonna, just because the games that he has played, he's been good. So it's nice to see that even though he's been injured, it didn't take him, a half a dozen games to get back into the flow of things. Even when he's hurt, he comes back, he plays, and he's productive.
He gets 2 points when he comes back every time.
Right. So I think I'll give him a flat B.
Yeah.
I'll give him a flat B, and see where this goes by the end of the season. If you can continue that, I'll jump him up another, A- or something like that. He could still get in there, even though he missed a handful of games. But you can see how important he is to this team, and the contract he's on for right now. It's still a really good player for not a lot of money.
Yeah.
So moving over to Sammy G. Samuel has 54 games played, 3 goals, 17 assists for 20 points. He's a +1 on the season. And let's see, he plays a ton, 21.05 an average time on ice, 2 game-winning goals, 1 overtime goal. Yeah, I think he's having a solid season.
I'm giving him a C+. But it's honestly, like, I know he knows what he's doing. He's been with this Avalanche team forever. It's just when he's off, he's off. And when he's on, it's good. It's not great. It's not game changing. When his upside, you know what it is, and it's about a B+. But man, when he's off, when he's making mistakes, they're bad. And when they were winning, losing, winning, losing, winning, losing, his off nights were prevalent and bold and neon. Like, you could see them clearly. And a C+, he's not costing the team, but little things he does can. And he's a good player when he's good, but when he's bad, I'm looking for deals.
Yeah, but I don't feel like I've seen as many like horrible plays from him as you've seen in seasons past. Like, there's been moments in the past where like he'll have just a horrible turnover, and you're like, oh my god, I just feel like he's outgrown all that. And we love talking about Devon Taves and how heady he is, and how like cerebral and IQ and all that stuff. I'm not saying Sam Girard is on the level of like someone like Devon Taves, but he's playing a much smarter game. I think he finally understands, like, he knows what he is. He doesn't have the size. He's not. How old is he? Well, he's 26 years old. He's not going to hit a growth spurt, right? So he plays within like himself of like, I'm not going to go, nail somebody up against the boards and they're going to land flat on their back. Although he has done that a couple times, which is nice to see. He is about puck movement, He's a transition dynamo. Like, he can get the puck out of the zone with anybody, as good as Taves can, as good as Cale Makar can. Like, that's where he excels. I would like to see him. I've always said this about him, like, because he's not afraid to shoot. But I would like to see him maybe get some more points here and there. And when this is a team that allows their defenders to really pitch in offensively, I feel like he should maybe have a little bit more points than he does. But hey, what do you say, 20 points on the season right now? His career high, he's already beat last year's. His career high is 37. Will he get there? Doubtful. But I feel like he's having a good season. I'm going to give him a B, a flat B. And part of it is, he's not playing with a guy, like a pairing has been a rotating door for him too this year as well. So while the guys that are playing with him have just been kind of like getting hurt and new guys are being introduced, he's been a constant. He really hasn't been hurt this year. So I've been happy with how he's played. I'm going to be happy.
My reason of giving him a C+ is his off nights. It's a foundational fundamental thing. Like, you're getting beat bad. Like, the size problem, and you're losing assignments. You're getting beat bad. You're not following. You're not getting back in place. And you're letting a lot of odd man rushes up. And, like, you could tout the shooting, the everything else, but if it's built on a bad foundation and it shows in the cracks, like, that's what has to be addressed. Like, fix that before you fix the size and the shooting and the this and the that. If you could just be in front of the guy that you're supposed to, not lose your assignment, and stick to your man and not be the number that everybody reads when goals are being scored, like, that's the big thing for me. Like, address the fundamental issue and everything's going to be fine.
Yeah. I mean, I'll say this, for like the 6 defenders that the Avalanche have, half of them, and that's Cale Makar, that's Jonathan Drouin, and that's Sam Girard. When they have the puck, I feel comfortable. I do. I feel like we're going to, puck is going to get out of the zone, and they can get it into an offensive zone and start something offensively. He's one of those guys for me. I'm sure there's some people that don't agree with that. And that is what it is. All right. You don't like that. All right. Finally, Ivan. 40 games played, 5 goals, 3 assists, 8 total points. He's a -9 on the season. And hey, for a guy that's went undrafted to play 40 games and give your team 10 minutes of ice time in a depth role, is he doing what they wanted him to do? I think he's been kind of like a pleasant surprise, at least to start the season. Maybe he cratered a little bit, fell off in the later stages, but hasn't played recently. What was his injury? I don't remember even what it was or how long it was for.
Yeah, I think it was a UBI of some sort.
I don't know. But he's been out because of it. And I believe it's been out because of it. So what do you think? What do you think for Ivan?
D+.
No way.
No, look. Let's be real here.
Fair.
Let's be real. Like, he had a great start.
Yeah.
And that's it. Like, when it comes to establishing a role, like, you have guys like Parker Kelly, you have just like Kivi Ronta, like, you have all these other players forming roles, and it always feels like Ivan is not there. He's not contributing. It's just not, I'm not seeing it yet. Like, there was a lot of promise, and like, it would have been a C+ if he just maintained how he started the year. But you're doing the reverse development that we would want from somebody that is undrafted and looked so good, like, through preseason and the start of the season. Like, you're getting worse and more invisible, and that's it's an issue. And I would say a D+. Like, we want to see you take that next step. Like, you talk about passengers. I would classify Ivan as many times not being able to find his role and just becoming a passenger. And like 10 minutes of ice time, there's so many players on this roster, you could get 10 minutes of ice time and get more out of.
I have to hard disagree with this. And I'm not saying like I'm giving the dude an A or anything like that. But maybe it's like the undrafted thing for me. Like nobody wanted this guy. So this is one of those things where I feel, and the Avalanche do this now. Like they're in a position where they have to go kind of sign guys like him that are not drafted. Hopefully you catch some lightning in a bottle. Most of the time they don't work out. And I'm not saying Ivan long-term will, but if not for Ivan, I don't know if the whole Mackenzie Blackwood deal might look different because the way he was playing made Kovalenko expendable for them. Like that's just truth. Like he was playing at that time when that deal was made in December. He was playing comfortable enough for the Avalanche to include Kovalenko in a deal and go get Mackenzie Blackwood. I don't know if how much different it would look if Ivan was never in the picture, if they had to give up more than, who knows how it plays out. But I think the Avalanche were comfortable in making that deal because of how Ivan was playing. And for him being undrafted, how old is he? He's 22 years old. So, a rookie season for him, you're going to be playing a depth role. There were moments he was on power play 1 this earliest year. So they have faith in him and they have confidence in him. I feel like you're going to hit a wall when you're a rookie. That's going to happen. And I feel like maybe he started doing that more recently, but did an injury cause that? I don't know. I'm going to give him a solid C+ right now. And for if he's able to come back and he finish this season and maybe hit the ground right, maybe this break is what a lot of guys need at this point in the year. If he comes back when, I don't know, I haven't heard any updates on him. I should have looked it up before we started. That's my fault. But if he comes back when the season picks back up and he makes it, because I feel like he does contribute, not on the score sheet. It's not his job. But I feel like he does. I feel like he puts in a lot of effort.
Well, and like, I don't want to spend too much time on it, but I feel like, honestly, in that Mackenzie Blackwood deal, Kovalenko had more value because, again, Ivan was undrafted, unwanted. Kovalenko had promise and future. And, like, if you're looking at the two, like, Ivan could have a hot start, but Kovalenko, you could build so much on top of.
Oh, definitely.
And, like, Ivan, it feels like if he can't find his role, it almost becomes an Abe Kubel 2.0. And like,
but they won a cup with Ave Kubel, so hey,
and he dropped it. But like, where is he now? Like, that's the thing. Like, you want this team to be like, he was a warm body, and with Ivan, I don't want him to be a warm body because, again, that beginning of the year, you felt like there was so much promise there. The regression scares me a little bit, and then it turns it from the Avalanche. Who's right, the Avalanche or 31 other teams that said, no, not our guy? Like, that's what this comes down to. And I don't want the Avalanche to be wrong on this because at the beginning of the season, it looked like McFarland's the genius. Everybody slept on this guy because he's got the same first and last name. But
yeah,
like, the more it regresses, everybody else in the league kind of like folds their arms and say, told you, this is what we saw. I don't want it to be that because I know he can be different. You just want to see him take that next step, and I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, and like I said, he's a rookie, so you're going to go through some growing pains with the guys in that position. But of all of the young people that came into training camp, the Callum Ritchie's and stuff like that. Callum Ritchie made the roster and was given his 9 games. He didn't even make it to the 9 games.
Yeah,
before they sent him back to Oshawa. And Ivan is stuck through the whole thing, and he's still here. So over on subtext, I want to get some people's thoughts on this. Madam Battleaxe says Drouin gets a B+, Sammy G a B-, and Ivan, because she loves his name, gets a solid B. Hey, you can grade and critique any way you want to. If you like someone's name, give them an A+. I don't care. I think this is from Landon. Says Drouin is an A. He mentions the low contract because his low contract and is producing more than some who get paid at a higher contract. That's a very good point. Sammy G is a B. And Ivan also gives Ivan a B. Okay. Kyle just shakes his head.
Fine. That's fine.
Drouin, this is from Charles. Drouin, a B plus, is doing exactly what we need him to do. Sammy G, feel like he's on a pass-fail grade system, but he's passing.
That's it. That's it. That's exactly how I view his games, pass-fail.
That's pretty funny. And he also gives Ivan a B minus. Hard not to like some things he's doing. Needs more time to develop.
That's
no problem with that.
And I think honestly, like my grade on Ivan is being so burned on so many promising talents like New Hook, and like you worry that you're going to have a passenger that nobody wants and you have to do something with.
And you know what? If that's the case, he was undrafted. You got what you got out of him, and is he going to be a career journeyman? Who knows? He's 22 years old. We don't know yet, but for what he's doing right now, I think the Avs are liking that and liking what they potentially could mold him into. So we're kind of at that stage right now where, this is all gathering info and him learning on the job type of experience. Yeah. So Vargar Drouin is a B. Wasn't for the injuries, he'd be an A. Yeah. Sammy G is a B plus. It's been solid in his own end, but could provide a bit more offensively. Dude, it's like we're using the same brain. Vargar and I.
Oh my God.
And Ivan, he gives a C.
You're getting there. You're getting there.
Brandon Drouin, C plus. Sammy G gets a C, and Ivan gets a C minus. So he's hoping for more from Ivan. As we're going down the list, the grades are going down. Apparently, jeez.
Come with me down here in the sewer.
Cody says he's just gonna make this easy for all three of these guys. They all get a flat B. Okay, he just made it easy for him. And Mark, the last one, Drouin, he didn't give names, so I think he's going alphabetically here. Okay. I think So Drouin a C, Sammy G a B minus, and Ivan gets a C.
Oh, hello, Mark.
So. So there you go. So there's the next three. Yeah, I'm looking at his injury right now, upper body injury, and week to week. So, but that was in late December. So maybe he'll be back after the Four Nations. We shall see.
So, and a long December it was.
Yeah. So all right, that will wrap it up for today. Enjoy the weekend. We'll be back on Monday to discuss the Four Nations games. Obviously, we'll get some more midseason grades in here and a couple things we got planned for next week, which we'll share with you guys on Monday. So thanks for tuning in, everybody, and making this your first listen of the day. That is always appreciated. He is Mr. Shaggy Von Doom, Kyle Sullivan. I am Chris Maselli. This is the Locked On Avalanche podcast, and you just made it through another 24 hours where Sidney Crosby is that much closer to being a Colorado Avalanche.
And he doesn't care about Connor McDavid either.
And he doesn't care. Nathan MacKinnon shoots the puck.